Welcome back to our chilling series, Most Haunted Places in the USA, where we journey into the shadowy corners of the nation, uncovering stories steeped in tragedy, mystery, and the supernatural. In this fifth episode, we delve deeper into the haunted heart of America, a land where history whispers from every creaking floorboard, flickering light, and abandoned corridor. From ghostly battlefields frozen in time to cursed mansions cloaked in sorrow, these locations serve as portals to a world beyond our own, inviting us to confront the unknown. America's haunted places are more than just eerie settings. They are vessels carrying centuries of untold stories. These sites bear witness to events that continue to echo through the ages, battles fought on hallowed ground, unspeakable crimes committed in secrecy, and the lingering presence of those who refuse to move on. Each location holds its own dark secrets, whispered through spectral voices, cold drafts, and unexplained phenomena that defy logic and reason. Whether you're drawn by morbid curiosity or an insatiable thirst for the supernatural, these destinations promise encounters that blur the line between reality and nightmare. In this episode, we'll explore some of the most infamous haunted locales across the United States, places steeped in lore and fear, where the past refuses to stay buried. We'll peer into the shadowy depths of cursed theaters, wander through haunted forests thick with dread, and tread cautiously through abandoned prisons teeming with restless spirits. Along the way, we'll hear first-hand accounts from witnesses brave enough to confront the unknown, examine chilling evidence captured by paranormal investigators, and unravel the tragic histories that give rise to these hauntings. So dim the lights, keep your ears sharp, and prepare yourself for a descent into the macabre. As we step into the haunted heart of America, remember, sometimes, the most terrifying truths lie just beyond the veil, and once you cross it, there's no turning back. The Stanley Hotel, a grandeur entangled with ghosts nestled in the picturesque town of Estes Park, Colorado, the Stanley Hotel stands as a monument to both luxury and despair, a grand Georgian revival masterpiece whose opulent facade conceals decades of tragedy and supernatural activity. Built in 1909 by Freeland Oscar Stanley, the hotel quickly became a retreat for affluent travelers seeking respite amidst the breathtaking beauty of the Rocky Mountains. With its sweeping verandas, crystal chandeliers, and meticulously manicured gardens, the Stanley epitomized elegance and sophistication. Yet beneath its polished exterior lay a darker narrative, one marked by scandal, heartbreak, and haunting encounters that would cement its status as one of America's most haunted hotels. One of the most enduring legends tied to the Stanley Hotel revolves around Room 217, said to be haunted by the spirit of Elizabeth Wilson, a former housekeeper who met a tragic end. According to local lore, Elizabeth was working late one evening when a gas explosion rocked the hotel, trapping her inside. Though she survived the initial blast, her injuries were severe, and she passed away shortly afterward. Guests staying in room 217 frequently report strange occurrences: lights turning on and off by themselves, radios tuning to static-filled stations, and the overwhelming scent of fresh-baked cookies lingering in the air. Some claim to wake up in the middle of the night to find their bedsheets neatly tucked around them, as if someone had come in to tidy up while they slept. Another prominent figure in the hotel's haunted lore is believed to be Lucy, the ghost of a young girl who roams the halls of the fourth floor. Described as playful yet mischievous, Lucy is often seen skipping down the corridors or heard giggling softly near guest rooms. Visitors recount seeing a childlike figure darting around corners, only to vanish without a trace. Others describe feeling an inexplicable chill pass through them as Lucy drifts by, accompanied by the faint sound of laughter echoing through empty halls. The Stanley's basement, once used for storage and laundry operations, has also gained a reputation for paranormal activity. Employees tasked with cleaning the area describe hearing muffled voices and the sound of footsteps echoing through the cavernous space, though no one else is present. Objects are known to move inexplicably. Tools vanish only to reappear hours later in entirely different locations. One particularly unnerving incident involved a maintenance worker who swore he saw a man in a tattered suit standing motionless in the corner of the room, his hollow eyes fixed on him before disappearing into thin air. Overnight visitors to the Stanley Hotel frequently recount bizarre experiences that defy logical explanation. Lights flicker unpredictably, especially in hallways leading to the older sections of the building. Doors slam shut on their own, and the scent of cigar smoke wafts through the air despite the hotel's strict no-smoking policy. One guest described waking up to find his reflection in the mirror staring back at him, but not quite matching his movements, as if another entity stood behind him, mimicking his actions. Another recounted seeing a man in a dusty soldier's uniform standing at the foot of her bed, his expression frozen in eternal anguish before vanishing without a sound. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, the Stanley Hotel remains a popular destination for tourists and locals alike. Its rich tapestry of human drama, interwoven with tragedy and loss, creates an atmosphere unlike any other. For those brave enough to book a stay, the possibility of encountering Elizabeth, Lucy, or one of the countless other spirits said to roam its halls adds an element of excitement and trepidation. Yet, as each new visitor crosses its threshold, they must decide whether they are ready to face the darkness that lingers within these walls, or will they become another chapter in the hotel's tragic tale. Eastern State Penitentiary, shadows behind bars perched in the heart of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Eastern State Penitentiary looms as a grim reminder of America's penal history. A foreboding fortress designed to inspire penance and reform, but instead becoming a breeding ground for despair, madness, and the supernatural. Opened in 1829 under the principles of solitary confinement, the prison sought to rehabilitate inmates through isolation and reflection. However, what began as a noble experiment quickly devolved into a nightmarish ordeal for those trapped within its stone walls. Today, the crumbling ruins of Eastern State stand as a testament to the horrors endured by its former occupants, and to the spirits that allegedly remain bound to its haunted cells. One of the most pervasive legends tied to Eastern State revolves around Cell Block 12, said to be haunted by the tormented souls of prisoners driven to insanity by prolonged isolation. Historical records indicate that many inmates succumbed to mental breakdowns during their sentences, unable to endure the crushing silence and oppressive loneliness. Decades later, visitors exploring the site report hearing faint moans and cries emanating from the remnants of the cell block. Some claim to see shadowy figures huddled in the corners, their faces obscured by darkness, while others describe feeling an oppressive weight pressing down on them as they approach the site. Another haunting figure associated with Eastern State is believed to be Al Capone, the infamous gangster who spent 8 months incarcerated there in 1929. According to local lore, Capone claimed to have been tormented nightly by the ghost of James Clark, a victim of the St. Valentine's Day massacre orchestrated by Capone's gang. His ghost is said to wander the halls of Cell Block 6, his ethereal form clad in a pinstripe suit. Guests visiting the ruins have reported seeing a pale man pacing restlessly near the cells, his expression frozen in eternal anguish. Others describe hearing faint whispers of Italian curses and the sound of footsteps echoing through empty corridors. The prison's underground tunnels, once used for transporting supplies and isolating unruly inmates, have also gained a reputation for paranormal activity. Visitors walking among the weathered headstones often feel an inexplicable sense of dread, as though unseen eyes are watching their every move. Shadows flit across peripheral vision, disappearing when directly observed. Some claim to hear disembodied voices calling out names unfamiliar to modern ears, believed to be the voices of prisoners buried without proper markers. Others report seeing apparitions of men and women in period clothing, their faces gaunt and weary, standing silently amidst the ruins. Paranormal investigators exploring Eastern State Penitentiary have documented numerous instances of unexplained phenomena. EMF detectors routinely spike in certain areas, particularly near the guard towers and the execution chamber. EVP recordings capture faint whispers pleading for help, interspersed with anguished cries. One investigator captured a chilling photograph of a translucent figure standing in the doorway of a cell, its hands raised as if begging for mercy. These findings have solidified the site's reputation as one of America's most active haunted locations. Despite, or perhaps because of, its grim history, Eastern State Penitentiary continues to attract curious souls eager to confront its spectral inhabitants. For many, visiting the site serves as both a pilgrimage and a reckoning, an opportunity to honor the lives lost and acknowledge the sacrifices made in pursuit of justice. Whether you're drawn by the allure of its haunting beauty or the weight of its tragic legacy, Eastern State Penitentiary offers an unforgettable experience where the past refuses to fade quietly into oblivion. The Myrtles Plantation whispers among the oaks deep in the moss-draped forests of St. Francisville, Louisiana, shrouded by ancient oaks and Spanish moss, lies the Myrtles Plantation, a once majestic estate that now stands as a testament to resilience and ruin. Built in 1796, the plantation served as a spiritual haven for generations of wealthy sugar barons and their families. Today, its weathered wood floors and crumbling columns bear silent witness to the violence, desecration, and despair that plagued those who sought solace within its sacred grounds, and to the spirits that remain bound to its haunted ruins. One of the most pervasive legends tied to the Myrtles Plantation centers around Chloe, a slave who was allegedly murdered after being accused of poisoning members of the family she served. Historical records indicate that Chloe was hanged from a tree on the property after the deaths of 2 children and their mother were attributed to her actions. Locals believe her ghost haunts the plantation house, wandering aimlessly as though still searching for redemption. Visitors exploring the site report hearing faint moans and cries emanating from the remnants of the kitchen. Some claim to see a woman in a green turban gliding silently through the halls, her translucent form illuminated by dim candlelight. Another haunting figure associated with the Myrtles is believed to be William Winter, a lawyer who owned the plantation during the mid-19th century. According to local lore, Winter was shot dead on the front porch by a stranger seeking revenge for a business deal gone awry. His ghost is said to wander the halls, his ethereal form clad in period attire. Guests visiting the ruins have reported seeing a pale man pacing anxiously near the staircase, his expression frozen in eternal anguish. Others describe hearing faint whispers of legal jargon and the sound of footsteps echoing through empty corridors. The plantation's surrounding woods, thick with underbrush and towering trees, have also gained a reputation for paranormal activity. Visitors walking among the weathered headstones often feel an inexplicable sense of dread, as though unseen eyes are watching their every move. Shadows flit across peripheral vision, disappearing when directly observed. Some claim to hear disembodied voices calling out names unfamiliar to modern ears, believed to be the voices of slaves buried without proper markers. Others report seeing apparitions of men and women in period clothing, their faces gaunt and weary, standing silently amidst the graves. Paranormal investigators exploring the Myrtles Plantation have documented numerous instances of unexplained phenomena. EMF detectors routinely spike in certain areas, particularly near the staircase and the graveyard. EVP recordings capture faint whispers pleading for help, interspersed with anguished cries. One investigator captured a chilling photograph of a translucent figure standing in the doorway of the mansion, its hands raised as if begging for mercy. These findings have solidified the site's reputation as one of America's most active haunted locations. Despite, or perhaps because of, its grim history, the Myrtles Plantation continues to attract curious souls eager to confront its spectral inhabitants. For many, visiting the site serves as both a pilgrimage and a reckoning, an opportunity to honor the lives lost and acknowledge the sacrifices made in pursuit of justice. Whether you're drawn by the allure of its haunting beauty or the weight of its tragic legacy, the Myrtles Plantation offers an unforgettable experience where the past refuses to fade quietly into oblivion. The Winchester Mystery House, a labyrinth of grief perched in the heart of San Jose, California. The Winchester Mystery House stands as a surreal monument to obsession, grief, and the supernatural. A sprawling Victorian mansion built over 38 years by Sarah Winchester, heir to the Winchester rifle fortune. Constructed without blueprints or coherent design, the house features staircases leading to nowhere, doors opening into walls, and windows overlooking other rooms. To some, it appears as a chaotic labyrinth born of eccentricity. To others, it is a desperate attempt to appease the vengeful spirits of those killed by Winchester rifles. Regardless of interpretation, the mansion has become one of America's most iconic haunted locations, drawing visitors eager to confront its mysteries. One of the most enduring legends tied to the Winchester Mystery House revolves around Sarah herself, who allegedly believed she was cursed by the ghosts of those killed by her family's firearms. After the deaths of her husband and infant daughter, Sarah consulted a medium who advised her to build a home for the spirits to prevent them from harming her. Thus began her relentless construction project, carried out continuously for nearly 4 decades until her death in 1922. Visitors to the mansion report hearing faint hammering and sawing noises, as though workers are still laboring on the endless renovations. Some claim to see Sarah herself wandering the halls, her translucent form clutching architectural plans. Another prominent figure in the mansion's haunted lore is believed to be the spirit of a carpenter who died during construction. Paranormal investigators exploring the house have captured EVP recordings suggesting the presence of a male entity whispering phrases like, "Help me," and "It's too late." Witnesses describe seeing a shadowy figure resembling the carpenter pacing anxiously near unfinished staircases, clutching what appears to be a toolbox before vanishing without a trace. The mansion's basement, once used for storage and utilities, has also gained a reputation for paranormal activity. Employees tasked with maintaining the area describe hearing chains rattling and heavy footsteps echoing through the cavernous space, though no one else is present. Some claim to see shadowy figures dragging invisible loads, their movements jerky and unnatural. A particularly chilling account comes from a tour guide who swore she felt cold metal cuffs snap around her wrists, pulling her backward toward the darkness before releasing her abruptly. Overnight visitors to the Winchester Mystery House frequently recount bizarre experiences that defy logical explanation. Lights flicker unpredictably, especially in hallways leading to the older sections of the building. Doors slam shut on their own, and the scent of gunpowder wafts through the air despite the absence of firearms. One guest described waking up to find his reflection in the mirror staring back at him, but not quite matching his movements, as if another entity stood behind him, mimicking his actions. Another recounted seeing a man in a dusty workman's uniform standing at the foot of her bed, his hollow eyes boring into hers before vanishing without a sound. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, the Winchester Mystery House remains a popular destination for tourists and locals alike. Its rich tapestry of human drama, interwoven with tragedy and loss, creates an atmosphere unlike any other. For those brave enough to take a tour, the possibility of encountering Sarah, the carpenter, or one of the countless other spirits said to roam its halls adds an element of excitement and trepidation. Yet, as each new visitor steps onto the property, they must decide whether they are ready to face the darkness that lingers within these walls, or will they become another chapter in the mansion's tragic tale. As we traverse the haunted landscapes of the United States, from the opulent halls of the Stanley Hotel to the somber grounds of Eastern State Penitentiary, striking similarities emerge that transcend individual locations and histories. These patterns are not merely coincidental but reflect universal themes of human emotion, unresolved trauma, and the enduring power of memory. From the wailing wards of hospitals to the shadowed basements of monuments, these sites share a commonality that binds them together in a spectral sisterhood of sorrow and suspense. One recurring motif is the concept of unfinished business. Whether it's the victims of unethical experiments, or the betrayed trust of patients subjected to inhumane treatments, these spirits seem tethered to the earthly realm by grievances left unaddressed. Their presence manifests as restless energy, often communicated through auditory phenomena, cries, whispers, or disembodied voices, that serve as pleas for acknowledgement or closure. This theme resonates across cultures and belief systems, reflecting humanity's innate need to resolve conflict and seek peace, even in death. Another shared characteristic is the role of architecture in amplifying paranormal activity. Historic buildings, with their labyrinthine corridors, thick walls, and hidden alcoves, create environments conducive to isolating individuals and heightening fear. These structural elements act as metaphors for the psychological barriers erected by those who suffered within their confines, trapping emotions such as anger, despair, and regret. It's no coincidence that many reported hauntings occur in spaces imbued with emotional significance: operating rooms where surgeries went awry, basements where bodies were stored, or wards where patients met tragic ends. Lighting and sensory manipulation also feature prominently in these narratives. Flickering lights, sudden temperature drops, and inexplicable odors are staples of ghostly encounters, designed to disorient and unsettle. Such phenomena strip away the comfort of familiarity, forcing guests to confront the unknown. The use of mirrors, a recurring element in stories from various haunted hospitals, adds another layer of psychological tension, as reflections distort perception and blur the boundary between self and other. This interplay of light and shadow becomes a tool wielded by unseen forces, creating moments of visceral terror that linger long after the initial shock subsides. Finally, the prevalence of historical context cannot be overstated. Each location's haunting is deeply rooted in its unique past, shaped by the socio-cultural milieu of its time. The brutal medical practices embedded in the DNA of older establishments contrast sharply with the glamorous yet tragic lives immortalized in urban legends. Yet both narratives tap into broader archetypes of ambition, betrayal, and mortality, ensuring their resonance with audiences regardless of personal experience. By drawing on these universal motifs, these haunted places transform from mere buildings into living repositories of collective memory, inviting us to peer into the abyss of our shared humanity. Thus, while each establishment boasts its own distinct flavor of fright, the underlying threads connecting them reveal a tapestry rich with meaning. These patterns remind us that the supernatural is not so much about the entities themselves but the stories they tell, the echoes of lives interrupted, passions extinguished, and truths obscured. As we continue to explore these haunted locales, we find ourselves grappling not only with the specters of the past but with the timeless questions they raise about life, death, and everything in between. The psychology of fear. Why haunted places captivate us? What is it about haunted places that grips our imaginations so profoundly? Beyond the creaking floorboards and flickering lights lies a deeper allure, one rooted in the psychology of fear and the human fascination with the unknown. These sites, by their very nature, are places of vulnerability. They are where we confront our mortality, stripped of autonomy and control, relying entirely on the expertise of others to heal us, or where justice was denied, leaving wounds that refuse to heal. When these spaces become haunted, they amplify our primal fears, transforming familiar settings into arenas of existential dread. The combination of historical context, architectural design, and the lingering presence of past suffering creates a perfect storm of terror that resonates deeply within us. The core of this captivation is the concept of liminality, the state of being on the threshold between two worlds. Haunted places exist in this liminal space, bridging life and death, health and illness, hope and despair. This inherent duality makes them fertile ground for supernatural narratives. Ghosts, as manifestations of unresolved trauma or unfinished business, embody the tension of being caught between states. They serve as reminders that the boundaries we construct, between life and afterlife, sanity and madness, are far more permeable than we'd like to believe. For many, visiting a haunted site feels like stepping into a twilight zone where the rules of reality no longer apply, igniting both curiosity and unease. Architecturally, haunted places contribute to this atmosphere of dread through their design. Long, sterile hallways lined with identical doors create a sense of disorientation, while poor lighting and echoing acoustics heighten sensory awareness. These features mimic the psychological effects of anxiety and claustrophobia, making even mundane sounds, a distant cough, the hum of fluorescent lights, feel ominous. The labyrinthine layouts of older structures, with their hidden wings and underground tunnels, evoke feelings of entrapment and uncertainty. Every corner becomes a potential threat, every shadow a possible harbinger of danger. This environmental manipulation taps into our instinctual fight-or-flight response, keeping us perpetually on edge. Cultural influences also play a significant role in shaping our fascination with haunted places. Media representations, from films like The Shining to television series such as American Horror Story, have cemented the trope of the haunted asylum, courthouse, or battlefield as a locus of horror. These portrayals often blend historical truths with fictional embellishments, creating a mythology that blurs fact and fiction. Audiences are drawn to these stories because they reflect societal anxieties about institutional power, systemic injustice, and the fragility of the human mind. Haunted places become microcosms of larger fears, the loss of agency, the misuse of authority, and the haunting specter of mistakes made in the name of progress. Moreover, haunted places appeal to our desire for catharsis. Engaging with these tales allows us to process our own fears about mortality, injustice, and the flaws inherent in systems meant to protect us. By confronting ghostly apparitions and unexplained phenomena, we externalize internal anxieties, transforming abstract fears into tangible adversaries. This vicarious experience provides a safe outlet for exploring the darker aspects of human existence, offering both thrill and relief. It's no wonder that ghost tours and paranormal investigations of haunted places attract participants eager to test their courage against the unknown. Ultimately, the enduring allure of haunted places lies in their ability to mirror our deepest fears while challenging our understanding of reality. They remind us that the past is never truly buried, that pain and injustice leave indelible marks on both people and places. As we walk their haunted halls, we are forced to confront not only the spirits said to inhabit them but also the ghosts within ourselves, the regrets, doubts, and unanswered questions that linger long after the wounds have healed. In doing so, we find a strange comfort in knowing that we are not alone in our fears, that others have walked these same paths and emerged, shaken but alive, to tell their stories. As we bring this chilling journey through America's most haunted places to a close, one thing becomes abundantly clear: the spirits of the past refuse to be silenced. Each creaking floorboard, each whispered name, and each fleeting shadow serves as a testament to lives lived, lost, and lingering in the spaces we dare to call haunted. These stories are more than mere campfire tales. They are fragments of history, stitched together by human emotion, tragedy, and the relentless passage of time. They remind us that the line between the living and the dead is far thinner than we might believe, and that sometimes the most terrifying truths lie just beyond the veil. But why stop here? If these accounts have stirred something within you, a spark of curiosity, a shiver of excitement, I urge you to take the next step. Visit one of America's haunted places yourself. Walk the same halls where spirits are said to roam, stand in the rooms where history's echoes reverberate, and let the unknown brush against your senses. Whether you're a skeptic seeking proof or a believer eager to commune with the other side, these forsaken institutions offer an unparalleled opportunity to confront the mysteries that lie just beyond comprehension. There's nothing quite like experiencing the weight of decades-old despair firsthand, feeling the chill of a presence that defies explanation, or hearing the faint strains of voices from another time. And when you return, share your story. Did you feel the icy touch of a ghostly hand? Hear the faint tap of footsteps in an empty corridor? Or perhaps nothing happened at all. But isn't that silence just as intriguing? Your experiences add to the rich tapestry of lore surrounding these haunted places, ensuring their legacies endure for generations to come. Share your findings with fellow enthusiasts, document your journey, and keep the conversation alive. After all, every whisper contributes to the symphony of the supernatural. Until then, keep your lanterns lit and your courage steady. The spirits are waiting.